Yo, what's going on, guys? So if you haven't seen my Venom Let There Be Carnage spoiler-free review, I definitely recommend you check that out, because in that one we kind of go over my pros and cons of the movie, and it's just a little bit more vague things just to keep spoiler-free. This one we're going to get a little bit dirtier with it. We're going to talk about some actual specifics and kind of do the same general thing where I'm going to talk about stuff I liked, stuff I didn't like, but a little bit more unstructured than the other one, and because I'm not trying to, convince people to watch the movie like I might have in the last one, whereas this one, we're just going to talk about it, discuss it, what the hell was going on, and kind of go a little bit more in depth about the movie itself. So when it comes to Venom Let There Be Carnage, let's just get it right out of the way and talk about the after credit scene, because this is the spoiler review, so we might as well talk about Spider-Man right away. Yeah, I was very glad to see at least a hint of him in this, of course, within the after credits. Now, I do wish there was more. Look, I'm not that picky. I'm not going to be here and be like, oh, I wish Andrew Garfield was in the whole third act of the movie. Like, nah, I can't go that deep with it. But seeing Venom looking at Tom Holland, obviously he wasn't in the flesh there. It was just his face on the TV. It was enough to get me excited. So what is my take on what the hell happened there? Well, essentially, you can tell there were some multiverse things going on. So I guess whatever happens within No Way Home, with the whole multiverse thing going on, right when that happens, it seems like it takes Venom from his universe and puts him into the MCU universe with Spider-Man. That is exciting as hell. That's why the multiverse is great, because it allows them to do stuff like this. Because originally, we were always talking like, is Venom in the MCU universe? Is it? Like, we couldn't really tell if it was or not. But this movie basically lets you know that it's in the same multiverse, just not in the same universe, which is good to know. We know it's not in the same universe, which made sense, because, you'd always be thinking like, well, where the hell are the Avengers? There's like a million different Avengers in their universes. Like, why can't they be here? And the reason why I really love the multiverse and what it's doing for the stories, because you can have these smaller scale stories just in other universes now. You know what I mean? If you want to combine them at some point, just combine them with the multiverse. But you can basically explain anything with the multiverse. Like, you can have so many plot holes and just be like, oh, it's because of the multiverse. It makes sense because of the multiverse. I don't care. It's fun to watch. It's part of the fun. And of course, I want to see Spider-Man and Venom interact. I would have preferred if it was Andrew, but keep in mind, we're going to see him and Toby in No Way Home, probably 99.9% likely. So they can still have Andrew and even Toby, interact with Venom at some point. They could combine them in that way, and I hope they do. I would be just fine with it just being Tom. I wouldn't mind if Tom's fourth movie is a Venom movie. I wouldn't mind that at all. But I also wouldn't mind if it was a Spider-Verse movie and Venom was in there as well. I don't think Venom's going to be in No Way Home. If he is, I think it might be an after-credit scene. I don't expect to see him in the full movie, because it's already jam-packed with 6 villains as is. They don't need more, but I hope they at least give us a hint of it, because that'll be really damn exciting for the future. I'm not too sure what they're going to exactly do with that, but I just really like that after-credit scene. I think they did a good job of being like, okay, they're in the same multiverse, and now they're literally in the same universe because of the multiverse of madness going on, and I can't wait to see stuff go down with that. So that was great. Now let's talk about Cletus Cassidy and his death, because this is, again, the spoiler review, so we're going to talk about the spoiler stuff. I was a little disappointed to see him die, and the reason why I say that is because, like I say in my spoiler-free review, I love the shit out of this character in terms of the intrigue of the character. Obviously, I don't like him as a person. He is a terrible human being who is a serial killer, but he's very entertaining to watch. Woody Harrelson did a great job with the role. Carnage could still come back. We could still have a version of Carnage, and I'm not too familiar with everything about the comics, so I'm not sure if there was other variations of Carnage in terms of like other like hosts for Carnage. I'm not sure. But at the end of the day, it's not Cletus Cassidy, and I think his death was cool, don't get me wrong. I love that scene where Venom just grabs him and just bites off his head, and he's like, fuck this guy. That was great. A good use of the F-bomb in the movie, because I'm pretty sure PG-13 movies are allowed like 1 or something F-bombs. It depends on the movie, but there's a good use of their 1 F-bomb. And it was a great scene, but I'm just sitting there like, I wanted more. I want to see more, and we're never going to see it because he's dead. Obviously, it's a comic book movie. People come back all the time, but I don't really expect him to come back. I feel like this is it for Carnage and Cletus Cassidy, which is unfortunate. Maybe I wouldn't be as, angry about that or upset about that if they showed more of him in this movie, which they had a lot, yes. But I would love even more in the movie itself, like 20 minutes more. I mean, the trailers didn't show everything, but they showed a lot. Like a lot of the really cool scenes in the trailer, like a lot of the cool Carnage scenes, a lot of the cool Carnage shots from the movie, they were all in the trailer, which I think was one of the most disappointing things. It's like we didn't get that many more awesome Carnage scenes beyond what we already saw in the trailer. So this is definitely one of those movies that not seeing the trailer is a massive benefit in my opinion, because like I said, some of the effect of Carnage was taken away because of the trailer. But again, I do wish we saw a little bit more of him, and I wish maybe they left it open-ended for him to return. I was hoping maybe something would happen where Venom would let him go, and he would not let him go, but we would recapture him. But they'll probably put him on death row. So I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe escape somehow, and we could see more of him. Like, imagine how cool that would be with a Spider-Man versus Venom versus Carnage movie. I mean, I would freak out. That would be like the best thing ever, but it seems as though that's not the route they're gonna go, because I've always wanted to see Spider-Man go up against Venom or Carnage, and yeah, we're not gonna see that because he's dead. Well, I mean, we're not gonna see Cletus's Carnage, I guess, which it is what it is. One of my favorite things about the movie, like I said in the spoiler-free review, was the relationship between Eddie and Venom. I think they did a great job with all of that, and the whole breakup aspect of it, where they literally broke up for like a good portion of the film and they had Venom away from Eddie for a lot of it. I loved, because Eddie, look, people complain about the first one, basically everything before Venom coming into the story, where they were like, oh, Eddie, just watching Eddie on his own was kind of boring. I don't agree with that at all. I think Tom Hardy does a great job with the role, and I think the character is intriguing enough to the point where I enjoyed seeing him trying to solve this case on his own, trying to kind of discover what the hell's going on with Cletus. Like, where could he have possibly have gone? And there was a lot more fear in there. There's a lot more stakes in the line because he doesn't have Venom with him. So if Cletus does catch him, he's fucked. Like, there's nothing he can do about it because he doesn't have Venom, and that adds a complete extra layer of tension there. And they have the whole scenes with Venom at the rave party and stuff, and it was a funny little scene there. I definitely enjoyed that scene a lot. And what I thought was really gruesome to think about, and I didn't really think about it till after, but he was taking a bunch of new hosts, and every host he was taking would die right after, because obviously they wouldn't be compatible. And I'm pretty sure they were all literally just dying after he left them, which is kind of fucked up, but it's like, it's Venom. And I do like that, because although these movies are treating Venom as, he is an anti-hero, that's just what Venom is, but these movies definitely treat him more like a hero in many aspects, because, I mean, he's the main character, the main protagonist, so he's going to feel more heroic to us. But I like when they do stuff like that, because it reminds us that he's still not, your average hero. He still kills people sometimes, and that's one of those cases. And a lot of these people he was, latching onto were innocent people. So, they're not compatible. That's just what happens. I thought it was funny that Chen was compatible. Mrs. Chen was compatible, and obviously we knew that Anne was, and they had another scene with her taking the symbiote for a little bit. I thought that was nice. That was a nice little scene. Again, all that went by so fast. Another complaint I had for the other video was like the movie was just so quick. It was just going through scenes like this, like this, like that. I was like, holy shit, man, this is a fast movie. This is like it's trying to run a freaking marathon or something. I'm like, damn, slow your shit. I do think this movie would have benefited from being just a little bit slower. And I know that's probably something you never hear most people say, because people don't like slow movies. I don't either. I don't like when they're that fast either. I kind of like an in-between, and I think this movie definitely needed a little bit more breathing room here and there, and I think they could have extended some of the story out with more Cletus Cassidy scenes. I'm just fangirling over this character because it's a fun character to watch. He's a brutal, vicious villain, and already from this movie, I think he's one of my favorite Marvel villains from like the past at least 5 to 10 years. I think Marvel has had a lot of great villains here and there. Thanos is obviously the top of the food chain there, but I mean, this has got to be one of them too. Like, he's not that deep. Like, they didn't do that much building on his character, but one thing that I love that they did with him, and it was such a small moment, but I really liked it, when he was talking to Eddie Brock, and he has this vengeance in him. He's really doing this out of vengeance because he's pissed at Eddie for getting him, sentenced to death, because he wants to be with this girl that he cares about, Francis, of course. And I love how when he grabs Eddie at one point, he's like yelling at him, and he says something along the lines of, you forgot to, you left this out of your story. You forgot to include the part where it says that I was abused by my grandmother and my father, which he killed his grandmother and his mother, which was a really fucked up little story that they had there, and I really, really enjoyed showing that like really messed up side of him there. And then he comes out and he's just like, you forgot the part where they abused me. And it adds an extra layer to him. It's like, okay, he's a serial killer, yes. And I did not feel any sympathy for him in that moment. Don't think I felt any sympathy, but it at least adds some layers to his character, because it's like, he's genuinely like offended by the fact that no one really knows that. They just see him as being this person who just murdered a bunch of people, but he really wants people to know that he's like this because of his family abusing him, or mostly, at least partially because of that. I find that to be interesting. I really like that moment. And like I said, how it all wrapped up with him getting his head bit off. As much as I want to see more of him, it was still a good ending to me, and I thought it was fitting. Last thing I want to say that I left out of the spoiler-free review, even though I should have included it because it's not really a spoiler, soundtrack was great. I like a lot of movie soundtracks. There's really not been many movies out there that have had bad soundtracks to me, but this one had a good one, and in particular, Carnage's theme. Wow. Like, Carnage's theme was amazing. It starts off the movie with his theme too, and I was like, oh my god, right from the get-go, I was like, oh, this is so good! And we hear it a couple times throughout the movie, and it's stuck in my head. That's a good thing. I like when music's stuck in my head. So, Cletus Cassidy theme, whatever you want to call it, the Carnage theme, loved it. Great music. Andy Serkis, as director, I think he did a good job with this movie. I enjoyed it. Like I said, I gave it an 8.2 out of 10 in my spoiler-free review, and I would definitely love to see this movie again at some point, because maybe there's something I missed. I don't know. Maybe I can even enjoy it even more the next time I watch it. I don't know, because I definitely felt like my enjoyment of it was a little bit lower just by the fact that I was anticipating it so much, and I think that definitely makes some difference on your enjoyment of it sometimes, but still really enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I will see you all on my next one. Peace out.